Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy with a new video for BCG Disney Week. Now before I begin this video, I thought I'd share with you guys a little backstory about the making of this particular video, as there is quite a story to be told. Now, remember a few days back I was watching the Disney animated sequels and live tweeting them? Well, the reason for that is because I was planning to watch all of the Disney direct-to-DVD sequels and some of the theatrical sequels in order to make a list of the top 10 good Disney animated sequels. I just feel like there's such a huge stigma on Disney animated sequels just being complete and utter crap and no one ever gives them the time of day. I feel like some of them aren't as bad as others, and I was attempting to prove that with my top 10 list. But in the process of watching some of these Disney animated sequels, I came to realize that maybe I was wrong. No, don't misunderstand me. There are some good Disney animated sequels. In fact, I'll be talking about a few of them in here. But for every one good Disney animated sequel, there are 3 to 4 really bad ones. They range from either being average to mediocre to just outright terrible. And so instead of making a top 10 list of the good Disney animated sequels, I just thought I would share with you guys my quick thoughts or mini reviews on the Disney animated sequels that I have already watched. I planned to watch all of them, but I ended up only watching the Disney Renaissance animated sequels. So every movie from Little Mermaid all the way to Tarzan, I watched their sequels. Now, Goofy movie does not count as it isn't part of the Disney Renaissance. I know a lot of people think it is, but it's not. It's made by Toon Disney Studios. The Rescuers Down Under will not be covered in this, as well as the original came out back in the 70s and isn't a part of the Disney Renaissance. And finally, I'm not reviewing Hercules Zero to Hero, as I don't really count that as a sequel. I see that more as a prequel because it's just Hercules reminiscing about his time at superhero high school. I really don't remember. All I remember was Icarus was a character, and there was like this one girl that kind of had the hots for Hercules. It's not that good of a movie. I'll say that for sure. So, without further ado, here are my quick thoughts on some of the Disney sequels that I've seen, starting with... Now, as a kid, I had fond memories of The Little Mermaid 2: Return of the Sea. I remember really enjoying it. It was a very fun movie to me. But watching it again years later and as an adult, yeah, the film hasn't aged very well. It's so painfully stupid, a chore to sit through, and worst of all, insulting to the original Little Mermaid, lacking any sort of the charm or essence that the first film had to begin with. I mean, the story is nonsensical. I mean, I know it is a cartoon, so it's gonna be silly and things aren't really gonna make sense, but you gotta explain some of these elements, as they really confused me throughout the entire film. And the idea of erecting a wall to keep their curious teenage daughter from going out to the sea, yeah, like that has ever worked in any movie starring a curious teenager wanting to learn about the unknown. Good job, parents. All the musical numbers in this film were lifeless and forgettable. Not a single one of them stood out. And the characters are so terribly bland, including the characters from the original film. How do you screw them up? How do you give them less personality in the sequel? Melody is without doubt one of the dumbest characters I've ever seen in a Disney movie. And granted, she is 12 years old, so she's more susceptible to trickery and manipulation than her mother was when she was 16, but she's an even bigger idiot than Ariel. The things that she falls for in this film would have only tricked a 3-year-old kid, and I was constantly face-palming every time I saw her do something stupid. Every single, I can't believe you, Melody, really? Morgana, she could have been an interesting villain in this film, and I do remember liking her as a kid, but after seeing her again in this film, she's such wasted potential. She doesn't really do anything really menacing, and she just seems to complain a lot throughout the entire film, which is kind of her character. She complains about her sister and her mother, but that's not interesting, and she didn't even have a song. They didn't even give her a single song in the film. And then we have the 99-cent version of Timon and Pumbaa. Oh, I hate these guys. And funny enough, I actually liked them as a kid, just like Morgana, but seeing them again, I'm like, why did I like them? Really, they're not funny. Nothing about what they do in the film is funny. And then Derek. Poor Derek. How the heck did they give you less of a personality in this film than you had in the original? The original Derek is laughing at the sequel Derek for being such a pushover. Overall, this is just a very weak sequel and very disappointing to see. I really want to give this film a chance. I wanted to come here and say, you know what, The Little Mermaid 2 isn't that bad of a film, guys. It's actually pretty good. You know, a nice little follow-up to The Little Mermaid. But honestly, guys, if you're a fan of The Little Mermaid, this is just going to make you angry and disappointed. So please, stay away. Now, surprisingly, this sequel actually held up pretty well. I thought it was still really good and I found myself enjoying it throughout. This film further explores the relationship and dynamic between Belle and the Beast, which was sorely lacking in the original film. I mean, come on, you can't deny that in the original film they like hang out maybe once or twice or maybe 3 times a lady. I don't really remember how many times, but it was very short. Not enough to convince you that Belle has fallen in love with the Beast. Now, of course, they do glance over the fact that she lived with him for years, and that's why we got this sequel that kind of covers up the bases and explains what they've been doing between the time that she arrived and the time that she left to go get the townspeople. And I just loved seeing them explore their relationship more in this film. The film's story was engaging enough with a lot of funny moments, a lot of touching moments, and some intense and scary moments. Like the frozen lake scene where Belle almost drowns, and then the climax with the fight against the organ. As a kid, I remember being afraid of that organ, who was voiced by Tim Curry, by the way. That organ was just really frightening, and he had some really cool powers as well. And speaking of the organ, there are a lot of really cool characters that are introduced in the film, and all the original characters are solid as well. Overall, Beauty and the Beast: The Enchanted Christmas was a faithful sequel slash prequel and a really good film to watch for the holidays. Okay, so apparently trying to cover 8 Disney sequels in one video made the video much longer than I expected. Oops. So to save you guys the trouble of having to watch another long video by the Black Critic Guy, I decided to break this video into 4 different parts. This is the end of part 1. Part 2 will come out tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, followed by part 3 at the same time, and then the 4th and final part on Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thanksgiving Day. So now that we got that all cleared, let me know what you guys thought about the Disney sequels I talked about in this part. And stay tuned tomorrow for part 2. Till then, peace, YouTube!